Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Who dat?
Saints Raiders in the Dome on Sunday noon kickoff home finale in the regular season for the black and gold. Everything we need to know about the Raiders. We welcome on Adam Hill from the Las Vegas Review-Journal. You can find him on Twitter at Adam Hill LVRJ. He's been a good contributor to the show anytime we've needed Raider news. Adam, it's great to have you back. How are you?
I am good, enduring a pretty terrible season of football games, but it's almost over, so that's good.
Hey, you and me both, pal. This is one that it feels like they're playing because the schedule says that they have to. Let's start there, big picture, with the Raiders. I mean, I went back and looked it up earlier. Their preseason win total was 6.5. So, I mean, the expectations weren't high, but they're sitting here at 3-12. I mean, it's 3.5 below your total. How did it end up this bad for the Raiders in 2024?
Well, I mean, you might be asking the wrong person, because I think while everyone else thought that 6.5 was way too low, I actually thought it was too high.
Yeah.
I never thought they were going to be good, and I thought the Antonio Pierce experiment was going to be a bit of a disaster, and it has been. But yeah.
So, I mean, is the writing on the wall there with Antonio Pierce? Is there any way he's back with the Raiders again in 2025? Did we lose Adam? Adam, are you there?
You got me?
Yeah, I got you there. Okay, I'm sorry.
I have an echo, but I'm here.
Okay.
There's a chance. The argument he's
Okay.
going to make is that he wanted a quarterback and he doesn't have one. And that'll be the argument he makes in the offseason to try to keep his job.
All right. Well, we'll see how that transpires. Let's switch it to the game a little bit here. Brock Bowers, I feel like you have to start there. I mean, looking at this, he's far and away the leading receiver. 30 more receptions, about 30 more targets, like 220 yards more than the next guy. How has he been able to keep the production up when teams obviously know he's getting the football?
Yeah, I think part of it is that he's really, really good. He's very good at getting creating space when it's in line of scrimmage, getting separation. He's really good at that, and he's hasn't dropped a whole lot of balls, and he's been a guy that can take something with the ball and turn it upfield and create something afterwards. But I think the real problem is they just don't have anything else, especially after trading Devontae Adams, and it's just been a lot of feeding him the ball, even if it's only gaining 3, 4, or 5 yards at a time. Eventually, he breaks through and picks up yardage, but as good as he's been, it hasn't translated to success. And I think that's the biggest thing to look at. Teams have just said, yeah, go ahead and get your 10 catches, and you're not going to do enough with it to beat us, and enjoy that.
What's been wrong with the Raiders' running game this season? Because, I mean, I look and I see some guys that have had some success in the past in the NFL. How come they haven't been able to get that going on the offensive side?
Yeah, I think it started with a miscalculation. I mean, I think Zamir White's really talented, down from SEC country. A lot of people might remember him, from Georgia. Really talented guy, but he didn't fit the scheme. And I think a lot of people said that. You're bringing in Luke Getsy. He's got a zone scheme that's not really going to fit Zamir White. You're trying to fit a square peg in a round hole. And that's exactly what happened, and it didn't work out. The offensive line didn't really love the scheme. It wasn't really right for the personnel, and they just tried to force it. And it just was never going to happen. And then all of a sudden they find a guy in Sincere McCormick who's really, really talented. People are very excited about it. And then after 2 games as the starter of productive play, he's hurt, and it's over for him. So, Alexander Madison is fine. Amir Abdullah is fine as a veteran, catches balls out of the backfield, but there was just never any explosive plays, and it just wasn't going to happen. They never got it jump started. They tried to force it early in the season. Now they've just kind of given up on it.
Chatting with Adam Hill, Las Vegas Review-Journal, getting a preview of the Raiders. Of course, they'll take on the Saints Sunday in the Dome, home finale down there in the Big Easy. Let's flip sides of the ball. Let's flip sides of the ball and head over to the Raiders defense, because they have had some success on this side of the ball. Specifically, it looks like against the pass, which is going to be interesting because obviously they'll be facing Spencer Rattler, making his 5th career start. How tough is that matchup for Rattler and the Saints against the Raiders secondary?
I think it'll be pretty tough. I mean, they've lost some pieces, so they're not the same team they thought they'd be early in the year. Christian Wilkins, big free agent acquisition, goes down in week 2. Max Crosby's been out a few weeks. He's done for the year. That's up front with their pass rush. But they're still generating a little bit. They found a guy like Kool-Aid Chase on, kind of a cast-off former first-round pick of the Jaguars. He's been good. Down from your part of the country. So he's been pretty good. Charles Snowden is kind of a guy that they found. He's been okay up front. So they've generated a pass rush. Tyree Wilson is here and there spotty as a former first-round pick, but he's doing some things too. And then on the back end, you got a guy like Jack Jones, who's a playmaker. Isaiah Pola-Mao, AFC Defensive Player of the Week, kind of a very unheralded guy, but he's found a way. I think the key is Patrick Graham, really good defensive coordinator. I think potentially a future head coach. He's been good. He's kept them in line. And, this is a team that was solid but not spectacular, and they had only created 5 turnovers through 12 games. That the players only meeting where the defense said apparently the key words were enough is enough. We're going to start getting the ball. The last 3 weeks they forced 6 turnovers, and they've been very respectable. And I think that's, certainly what they can hang their hat on at this point, if there's anything.
You mentioned the pass rush there, and that's actually where I was going to go next, because the Saints, once again, have injuries and players out along the offensive line, because that's just been the story of their season. Obviously, you're not better without Max Crosby on the field, but that is still a group that they feel good about being able to generate pressure and maybe take advantage of a wounded Saints offensive line.
Yeah, I think they've done some things schematically. In the interior of the defensive line, they've got some really veteran players. Adam Butler, who's trying to play for a contract, and he was very clear about that before the season. He said, "Look, I've been a good player, and everybody kind of calls me underrated every year, but this is the year I kind of make a name for myself." And he's been good. He's been a pretty good player for them. And I mentioned some of the other names on the outside. Like they've found success here and there. I don't think anybody's been a dominant player for long stretches, but you have a game here where it's Tyree Wilson, a game here where it's Kool-Aid Chase on, and they found a way to make it work. Like they're not going to blow you away with their sack numbers, but they're not going to let a quarterback just sit in the pocket and pick them apart. And I think that's kind of been the key to the defense.
When we look at the game itself, and you're looking for the Raiders to come in and get a win, it'd be back-to-back.
Why?
Well, yeah, I know. I mean, they kind of screwed up and did that last week, right, against Jacksonville. But that's kind of what I want to talk about is what worked well for them in that. I mean, they broke a 10-game losing streak, Adam. I don't have to tell you.
Yeah.
You cover the team. But what worked well for them in that game that could translate over and work well again against the Saints?
Well, did you say what worked well for them? They played Jackson.
That's fair. No, that's fair. Yeah.
that was the key.
The Jags aren't good.
I guess now the answer is, no offense, but they're playing the Saints.
Yeah. None taken.
Yeah, that's what's going to work well for them. I think, they did some positive things. Aiden O'Connell is serviceable. I mean, I guess that's as far as I would go with it. He can move the chains, and he put together a really nice drive to take the lead in the fourth quarter, and then all credit to him for another drive that killed 7 minutes off the clock and almost ran out the clock to get the victory. That's winning football. They did positive things, but again, they were playing Jacksonville, and I think that was why they were able to find success in the end. And as much talk as there's about tanking, the fans are upset about them winning. I think it's very, very bad for the organization overall that they won. Like, those players deserved it. They've been working hard. They haven't been blown out despite all the losses. And, they needed to find something to validate their hard work. And I think they were able to do that. You got to feel good for them in that regard, even if it's very bad for the long-term future of the organization.
He is Adam Hill. Saints will face the Raiders in the Dome on Sunday, noon kickoff. Again, you can follow him on Twitter at Adam Hill, LVRJ, part of the Las Vegas Review-Journal, covers the Raiders and the Golden Knights. Adam, we appreciate the time as always. Enjoy the football, and we'll catch up again down the road.
We will try. I think it'd be better if they just scrapped the game and had like a shot contest on Bourbon Street or something.
Hey, man, I'm down for that. I mean, I'm good. Like I said, I think they have to play this one just because the schedule dictates it at this point. But they'll do it nonetheless. Thank you, Adam.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Our pleasure, that is. Again, Adam Hill, Las Vegas Review-Journal. Earlier during a break, I was telling Jordan Cassidy, I have to make a pick on this game in, I don't know, like 32 and a half minutes, and I still don't know who I'm going to pick in this game.
Still don't know?
No, it's such a hodgepodge of awful that I just, it is. Don't look at me like that. Neither of these teams are good.
Dude, I thought we agreed on the coin flip.
Oh, well, yeah, the coin flip, but I mean,
It's a pick 'em. This is a pick 'em. Let's call it what it is.
Jordan, see, here's the problem with the coin flip. I'm going to tell you the problem with the coin flip. Eventually, you have to decide a winner, like heads or tails. Well, who are you going to call in the air? Or are you just going to let it, you just put on one on heads, one on tails, and flip?
Just got to.
All right, we do it that way?
Yeah, we have to beforehand pick which side is heads or tails. Flip the coin, like we say, man. It's a pick 'em game. It's not like, it's a pick 'em. So flip the coin, man. I think that's what we should do.
You got a coin? I don't have a coin.
Unfortunately, I do not have a coin on.
All right, then I guess I'll just decide here in the next 31 minutes or so who I think is going to win this game that is just a hodgepodge of awful that will take place in the Superdome on Sunday.
Did Adam at least give you anything to ponder on?
A little bit, but not anything that I wasn't already kind of thinking about. Like their pass rush, even without Max Crosby, bothers me just because the Saints their offensive line is injured again. It's been injured all year. Yeah. And Spencer Rattler was pressured on like more than half of his dropbacks against the Packers. So
the whole game basically.
Yeah. I mean, so like I kind of expected that still. It's interesting,
Told you, man, got to flip that coin.
Unfortunately, I was just talking it out and thinking about it in my head, and I think it's becoming more clear to me, and we'll give the prediction.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.